Proudly serving Texans since 1905. TFNB, your bank for life. The official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Premier ER and Urgent Care. Feel better now. Nissan. Innovation that excites. Get ready for all the post-game action. Started right now.
4 in a row and winless in West Virginia no longer. Those are the headlines on a day that gives us plenty to talk about tonight on the Postgame Fan Forum. The Bears pick up their first ever win in Morgantown. A fairly dominant win in some ways, 49-35 over the Mountaineers. The Bears are bowl eligible, 6-4 after 4 straight victories, and they can keep it rolling on next week in Houston. Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. Alongside Baylor legend Bryce Hager, I'm Derek Smith here on the Postgame Fan Forum. Aaron Sexton, our producer at our flagship station studios. A fun night all around for the Bears. A night that was tense at times, but in the second half, the Baylor defense really stifled West Virginia, keeping them out of the end zone, except for a meaningless touchdown at the end that really just changed the final score of the game. Bryson Washington scores 4 touchdowns for the second game in a row. And there's a lot of positivity around these Baylor Bears right now. Bryce Hager, it is not easy to go on the road and win, especially in a tough place like West Virginia. But the Bears, it was the offense early, and then it was the defense late, it felt like, and that was a good recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that first half. I mean, it reminded me kind of the 2012 game when we were up there playing Gino and Tavon and Stem and Bailey, and it was a shootout the whole game. So good thing the defense kind of settled in that second half and kind of took the game under control. Like you said, got that last trash touchdown at the end. But they did a great job at the halftime getting their game time adjustments in. And anytime you're playing in a way, especially Morgantown, man, those fans do it right out there. They know how to cheer for their home team. And so getting that first win out there, that's big time for Baylor Nation.
Bears have won 4 straight games after the 2-4 start, which seems like a long time ago. Sawyer Robertson, 26-36, 329 yards and 3 touchdowns. Baylor went 12 years, almost 13 years in between games where a running back had 4 touchdowns. Well, they got 4 touchdowns on the ground last week, and then Bryson Washington scores 4 more today, 3 on the ground, 1 through the air. That is back-to-back 4 touchdown games by Washington, 7 rushing, 1 receiving. Just a dominant stretch of football for Bryson Washington. And Bryce, I want to zoom out just a little bit. Obviously, this is big. It's the first time the Bears have ever got on the plane in Morgantown and headed back. Celebrating that in and of itself is certainly noteworthy. But it feels like we're at a point now where not only are they confident, they're playing with confidence, but maybe it's time for the Baylor family, Baylor fans, to kind of return that confidence, because I think obviously it's been tough the last 2 years, right, Bryce? This was the start 2 years ago where the team really got kind of rolling the wrong way, that 4-game losing streak to end the season. It went from the Bears having been 18-5 from the start of the 21 season to late 22 to then going 5-17. It was almost a mirror inverse streak that – understandably, there was a lot of negativity. There were questions, and it was hard not to let that be the headline in a lot of ways. Well, I think it feels like 4 straight wins, a signature win last week against your rival, your big rival TCU, the just your second win in the last 9 years. Then you get a signature road win in a place you've never won. And whether you want to say it's just kind of fresh air or turning the corner, it feels like the program has been doing all the things they need to do to turn a corner. And I don't want to over-dramatize it, but it kind of feels like we've moved into a new segment where maybe it's time to start looking with excitement again at what's ahead, because that really hasn't been the tone around the program for a little bit. And credit to the coaches and players for keeping their focus on what mattered in between that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to touch on that. I think what the coaches have done a really great job of is understanding who they have on offense and how they got to work with Sawyer and how they've really opened up his passing game by what they've done in the last 4 weeks with the running game. I mean, we've been averaging over 80 yards now rushing the ball. Bryson Washington the last 2 games has been outstanding. but without the guys up front moving the D line, there's no running game. And so I think the coaches have done a great job of figuring that out and getting that really dialed in, so these guys can run the ball, and that opens up the passing game. Like, it's another game that Sawyer throws to 8 different receivers. I mean, he's seen the field great, and when you can run the ball, like, that's just going to open it up for a guy who can pass the ball. That's what he needs. And we've talked about this too. I mean, teams play, if they can play well in November, December, that's all that really matters. How you start the season, you're figuring out your identity, you're trying to figure out what kind of team you're going to be. And I think this last stretch, these last 4 games, they're really kind of dialing that in, and they're playing their best football when it matters. I mean, now bowl eligible, try to get these next 2 wins in and just get yourself in a better bowl and use that momentum in the next year. And so if we can keep stacking these games, go 1-0 each week like we've been doing the last couple of weeks, that's what we need to focus on. 1 game at a time, 1 week at a time, go 1-0. And whatever they're preaching to these guys, coaches to players, players to coaches, I mean, it's working right now.
4 in a row for the Bears, who are now 6-4 and bowl eligible. Bryce, to touch on a couple of things you mentioned, Sawyer Robertson did complete passes once again, as you said, to 8 receivers, led by Josh Cameron, 5 for 101 yards and a touchdown. Monterey Baldwin with some big plays, 3 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. The Bears didn't hit 250 yards on the ground, but they didn't need to today. Still very effective, 34 carries, 183 yards. Just about 5.5 yards per carry. And, Bryce, you talked about Sawyer Robertson. Last year he was not the starter, and then he was injured when he was. He got a couple of opportunities. He got hurt in the Utah game. We never got a chance to see fully what he could be. And that was also in a different offense. You're also talking about Jake Spavital and the guys taking that time to get used to this offense. And, is it compound interest? I think, we all, when the Bears were so close in some of those early games, you want to see the results, and it's discouraging. But are you seeing that compound interest as the Bears, as you said, are putting together a season which they can really close strong? Is it the compound interest of the work they've put in that they're really starting to click? Because you were part of an offense like this. I'd say a part of a team like this kind of in 2012 that had a similar trajectory.
I mean, yeah, what happens, too, is like when you go into a season thinking that you have one guy who's going to lead your team, and that kind of changes a couple games into the season, that kind of resets your whole offensive identity, and you're going to try to figure out if that's a guy we can really get behind and trust and really go all in with him. And I think they did it. I mean, you can tell that the team trusts Sawyer. They get excited when he makes plays, and everyone else, when they're making plays, they get excited. And so I definitely think that has a lot to do with it. And I think they're just playing really good complementary football, and that's what we've been preaching when we were kind of going through those couple of weeks when we were losing. They just offensive play good, defensive play bad, or vice versa, or special teams was all over the place. Right now they're playing great. Like right now, the defense gave up 35 points, but the offense played good enough to put 49 points up on the board and got a win out of it. That's complementary football. As a defense, yeah, you don't want to give up that many points, but offense had their back this game, had their back last game, and so they're just doing a really good job of playing with each other.
You look, Bryce, they had 28 of those points in the first half, and I think you could argue, that last touchdown was questionable. There wasn't an angle to overturn it. I think the call on the field. I was really annoyed by that, actually, and I try not to be like, I thought they stopped him just short, but apparently there's no.
It was a shutout in the second half. Everyone knows that.
It was. They got, again, they scored a couple of touchdowns. One I don't think they really did, and one late that just changed the final score. But, I heard a conversation after the game on the postgame show with John Morris and with J.J. Joe talking about defensive adjustments. After the game, they had sophomore Jacob Reddings as safety, and he said there really weren't any big adjustments in the second half. So what did you see? Was it just a case of they bent at times but didn't break? I mean, obviously you had Matt Jones making 2 huge plays to break up potential fourth down conversions, either one of which could have led to scores for West Virginia. Obviously they got a few stops that they didn't in the first half, but did you see anything that was different?
I think whatever the adjustments were, sometimes you just got to settle down too. Like those games, you get kind of all the outside noise kind of gets to you, and then the game kicks off. That first half kind of stuff that usually is kind of uncharacteristic happens, but that's what's so good about halftime. You can kind of get back, reflect, calm down a little bit, get your feet back underneath you, talk to some of your teammates in a more quiet, relaxed setting, kind of like talk how you communicate, if you're what you guys are seeing out there. And so even if there wasn't that many like on the field adjustments, I think just them kind of like sitting back and kind of just taking it in, what they're doing, calm down, offense is playing good, let's just do what we know we can do. And they played great. Like we alluded to, Keaton Thomas started really showing up in the second half. I mean, I love it when you see guys going back to a place where they originally played and play really well, and being able to get a TFL and a sack. I mean, that's awesome. I love that for them. I mean, I can always remember going back to Austin and playing Texas. Those games always meant something a little bit more, and you're a little bit more passionate going against a team that you wanted to play for, your hometown or team you were previously with. And so some of that shined through. And so, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think they just needed to settle in. First half came at them fast, and then they just needed to get into halftime, get off their feet, kind of take a breath, and they settled in the second half, and they looked good.
Well, they certainly did. This is the Postgame Fan Forum. He's Bryce Hager. I'm Derek Smith. Aaron Sexton, our producer. We want to hear your thoughts this evening. 3 ways for you to do so. You can tweet us your thoughts using the hashtag BUFanForum. That's hashtag BUFanForum. If you're one of the viewers today watching on our Baylor Athletics YouTube channel, if you have questions for Bryce or either of us for that matter, you can comment them in the chat feed on the right, or on Baylor Athletics Facebook Live. You can comment there as well and send us your questions. 49-35 the final. The Bears pick up their first ever win in Morgantown. They've won 4 straight. They're 6-4 on the year. We'll take a break, and when we come back, it's our Game Day Rewind segment. Lots of highlights in this one from John Morris, J.J. Joe, and Ricky Thompson. We'll hear them when we return. Back with more after this on the Postgame Fan Forum, following a big Baylor road win tonight here on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
First Central Credit Union is cheering for the Bears. Our team advantages are 5% APY free reward checking. Enjoy ATM-free refunds and be on the winning side with direct deposits 2 days early. Huddle up with First Central to make deposits.
All right, we'll come out to the highlights.
And suit up in a free new member T-shirt. Visit online at First Central.
Yes, thankfully, most of them Baylor's.
Eligibility and application requirements apply. APY equals annual percentage yield. Member NCUA.
Premier ER and Urgent Care has all the convenience of urgent care with all the expertise of an ER, all under one roof. At every visit, be seen by ER-trained staff with on-site lab and CT, X-ray, ultrasound, and EKG. Here, you pay for the appropriate level of care that you receive, and we are in-network with most major insurance providers. Premier ER and Urgent Care has 4 convenient locations serving Texas: San Marcos, Temple, Waco, and Woodway. To learn more, visit www.premier.care.
It's Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels in Waco. Get the 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab with an incredible $15,000 off MSRP. Or drive away in a 2024 Ram 2500 Tradesman Crew Cab with $10,000 off MSRP. A great selection with over 350 new to choose from. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Hurry into Allen Samuels in Waco today. First responders get an extra $500 off.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Are you a proud Baylor fan? Do you love prizes? The Baylor Sports app allows fans to track their attendance across athletic events and earn points using Baylor Bold Rewards. Baylor Athletics wants to reward the most loyal fans for cheering on the Bears, so register online today at BaylorBoldRewards.com or download the Baylor Sports app straight to your phone. Prizes this year are better than ever, so start earning your points today.
You're listening to Baylor Football on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Segment. Let's take a look at the big calls in this one with John Morris, J.J. Joe, and Ricky Thompson, and there were indeed highlights of plenty, particularly in the first half. The Bears won the toss and deferred. That gave West Virginia the football first. They were able to offer a 12-play, 79-yard drive capped off by Derek Green, a 3-yard touchdown, a drive that took 5 minutes and 23 seconds off the clock. That gave West Virginia early 7-0 lead in that one. And again, Derek Green found out before the game today he was going to start after missing parts of 3 games with what they call an upper body injury. So the Bears got the ball back. They got the ball for the first time, down 7-0. Well, how would they respond? They responded well. 7 plays, 75 yards on through the air and on the ground. 2 minutes and 24 seconds off the clock. And it was Sawyer Robertson with a nice find of Bryson Washington.
From the Mountaineers 22, Sawyer Robertson looks to throw. Pass over the middle. Did he catch that ball? He did. That is a touchdown for the Bears. Great grab right over the middle. Touchdown Baylor. They answer the touchdown by West Virginia. It was Bryson Washington with the catch.
That was a nice throw, Bryce, by Sawyer Robertson. Washington was covered, and it looked like he was waiting for just the right. What did you see from Sawyer on that?
I mean, I know for a defensive guy, those are routes that are tough, and you usually don't think they're going to throw it to the running back sometimes when they're coming right at you. And so Sawyer knew the matchup. He liked what he saw, and he trusted his guy to get the ball, and he got it.
So that was Bryson Washington with his first touchdown today, his first of many. So after that, it's 7-7. The Bears are able to get the stop. They use the West Virginia punt, drive right back down the field again. This time 6 plays, 80 yards in just 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Josh Cameron took a short pass from Sawyer Robertson and put some of his punt returning skills to use in the open space that he saw.
11 yards on that pickup. Robertson passes right side, and it is caught. Steps inside to the 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown Bears! Josh Cameron into the end zone. He sidestepped the first defensive back, cut into the field, and took it all the way for the Baylor touchdown.
Extra point made it 14-7. A nice play, saw a little room, was able to slip by one man, put a move on him, a little hip fake, and then he was gone. 43 of his 101 yards through the air today. That gave the Bears a 14-7 lead. A little bit of frustration, you would have to say, for the Bears between the end of the first quarter and the start of the second quarter. Baylor had opportunities to get West Virginia off of the field. The two penalties on third down extended the drive, and then Corey Gordon had Evan Bobby got his hands on a pass in the end zone, but succeeded only in deflecting it right to Ray, and that was caught for a touchdown. That made it 14-14. You know, Bryce, I think that's I feel like that's a case where he's not thinking, okay, is West Virginia, crazy things have happened here, and just kind of felt like a favorite for a ball game day.
Yeah, I mean, they were just kind of having that thing, the old saying that better be lucky than good. So, I mean, everything was just kind of falling into place, getting the penalties they needed, and then deflection right into your guy's hand or the opponent's hand. Like, you can't draw that up. Sometimes things just happen that way, and you just got to move on to the next play and hope it doesn't happen again.
That was Traylon Ray, I think, part of that action, by the way, later on. Hoping that he is able to come back from that thought score as well. That's out of injury. So at this point, it is 14 all. The teams trade rare stops in the first half. The Bears get the ball back, tied at 14. They need only 5 plays for 65 yards in a 2-0. But this time it was Robertson finding a big play threat. Monterey Baldwin.
First down and 10. Pass, deep ball. Center of the field. Did he get it? Yes! Touchdown! How about the touchdown to Monterey Baldwin? A 40-yard strike. Sawyer Robertson on the money with the pass, and the Bears regain the lead over West Virginia 20-14.
By the way, Bryce, I should have acknowledged here. So that touchdown came before 22 on the clock. That means with 4 minutes and not stay there over the next 4 minutes as teams at this point enter a barrage of just haymakers back and forth, and it was the Bears who were able to really kind of start it here. So the Bears are up 21-14. West Virginia turns the ball over on downs, and then it's a first and 1. So the Bears are up by 7, get the ball back. They proceed to drive right down the field again, needing only 2 plays to cover 51 yards in 13 seconds. It was Bryson Washington who we saw a gaping hole opened up by the offensive line.
Play second down and 4 for West Virginia. Green will hand it off. A hole through the left side. Donaldson will strong.
Actually, that was a West Virginia touchdown that would follow Bryson Washington was able to score from 51 yards out to make it 28-14. That Donaldson touchdown cut the Baylor lead rather quickly to 28-21. And that was because of what was interesting, Bryce, is after the touchdown by Bryson Washington up 28-14, the Bears tried an onside kick. They had Reggie Bush, a backup quarterback.
Okay, he's got it.
Surprise them with the onside kick. And we'll talk about that again after this call.
Second and 10, handoff. Big hole up the middle. Look at that one. Bryson Washington, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Bryson Washington. Oh, man, 51 yards. Baylor back in the end zone. Bryson Washington does it again. Baylor goes up 27-14.
Extra point made it 28-14, and then Bryce, the Bears did try that surprise onside kick. It was a very aggressive play, and you know that if you don't get it, you give West Virginia the ball in pretty favorable territory. You know, sometimes you roll the dice. Is that a roll the dice play, thinking you're going to need to steal a possession on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the call. I like them being aggressive right there after an explosive play like that. It's a good time where they're probably not expecting it. So if you can capture that, great. And if not, just make sure your defense knows it's a must-stop situation. But I like the call there. I like being aggressive right before half.
You know, I think that sometimes when the team isn't aggressive, fans notice a comment, complain. Well, I think in this case it didn't work. But you almost had a chance to make a play on it, and certainly caught them off guard. Just didn't work. Unfortunately, though, West Virginia would score, and it didn't take very long. 3 plays, 41 yards, 26 seconds to make it 28-21 with 1:47 left in the first half. And but that was way too much time to give the Bears, who got the ball back. Back and forth. Again, this was a 14-14 game with just over 4 minutes remaining in the second quarter. The Bears are able to score here on this 8-yard Bryson Washington run to make it 35-21.
Here's the play. Handoff. Right side, keeping his footing and into the end zone. Touchdown, Bryson Washington. From 8 yards out, another rushing touchdown by Washington. He's got 2 on the ground. He's got 1 through the air. And Baylor leads 34-21 over West Virginia.
That was the third touchdown between the two teams in a 1:16 span. And it gave the Bears a 35-21 lead. But the defense did have its struggles in the first half. And I might take umbrage with the call that they gave with allowing Baylor to score on the last play of the first half. But the Bears, unfortunately, did give them some opportunities there. They allowed a 44-yard pass on 3rd and 17 at times. The Bears did struggle with the pass defense today. Garrett Green, boy, I tell you what, I thought he was stopped just shy of the goal line. Bryce, I guess that's the case. Whatever call they made on the field is going to stand. I don't know why we didn't get a view looking horizontal down the end zone. We never got that view. I thought it looked like his momentum stopped just shy of the goal line, but they gave the call. I guess credit to the Bears for not letting that go back.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately it was called a touchdown on the field, and there just wasn't undisputable evidence to overturn it. And so usually what the call is, they got to stand with it. But to your point, they did a great job of not letting that affect one bad play lead to more bad plays, and so they were able to move on. But unfortunately, it gave them a touchdown on the call, and they couldn't overturn it.
That made it 35-28 at halftime. Incidentally,
Yeah, they really stepped up that second half, and when those guys, your leaders, need to step up and make big plays, usually you fall, like you said, you fall and lean on those guys, and they showed up when they had to. And plays like that's contagious. When you look around, things aren't going right, and your leaders are making plays and showing up and not giving up and bringing the energy and the juice. I mean, you love to see it, and you love to see it as it's coming from their two linebackers.
Bryson Washington absolutely bullying the West Virginia defense on his way back.
And off Washington again, moving the pile forward. Did he get in? Yes! All the way to the end zone. They cover the 9 yards. Bryson Washington, bullish run into the end zone for the Baylor touchdown.
That was his fourth touchdown of the day. More importantly, the moment he gave the Bears a 10-score lead, 42 to 28. The Bears would get another fourth down stop, and it would be Dawson Pendergrass working off of that to put the icing on the cake.
First fourth down attempt tonight by the Bears. Give to Pendergrass. He's got it. Watch out. 10-5 touchdown. He hurdles into the end zone. Dawson Pendergrass, the touchdown on 4th and 1. And the Bears lead West Virginia 48-28 here in Morgantown.
How the game played out today. If the numbers begin in this one, Baylor over 500 yards, 512. West Virginia just shy of 499. This pretty issue today for the Bears. 9 of them obviously didn't hurt them in the loss column. They're at 8 of 13 for the Bears on third down. Just 5 of 13. West Virginia now here plays 5.7 yards per play. Baylor at 7 of 7. Central National Bank Library. He's be back this Wednesday night. The voice of the Bears, John Morris, usually there. He'll be on the road with basketball there with Mike McGraw, Casey Maxwell, baseball, and from West Virginia, respectively, on the lineup of Baylor coaches throughout the season. It's every Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. All the inside scores for programs this season. Take a break, and when we come back, let's make some comparisons of this team to some of the teams past. Bryce, I love your take on Bryson Washington, what kind of running back he's becoming, and reminds you of anyone, and maybe draw the comparison a little bit further to the 2012 team that is all coming up on the Postgame Fan Forum. If you want to send us your thoughts, you can just using the hashtag #BUFanForum. You can comment on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel or on the Facebook Live. We'll take a break and come back with more after this on the Postgame Fan Forum on a Wednesday night with the Bears on Baylor Sports Weekend.
When life gets complicated, Butts Law Firm is your one stop for a wide range of legal needs. Whether you need estate planning documents such as a will, trust, or guardianship, or the appointment of a receiver to handle personal or business assets management and disposal, consumer protection, family-related legal matters, or various business-related issues, we are your community firm. Whether you're planning for the future, navigating a probate, or managing a business, our experienced team is ready to guide you every step of the way. Trust us to provide the legal support you need. Call today. 406-641-BUTZ. That's 406-641-2300. 2889, or come by the Waxahachie office at 301 South Rogers Street, Suite 202, downtown Waxahachie. Come see the difference having a trusted attorney by your side can make, because at Butts Law Firm, your legal rights are our business.
This season, beat the holiday rush and shop Astound.com for bigger deals, bigger savings, and bigger internet. For a limited time, get Astound Internet for only $20 a month for 2 years. Plus, add 5G unlimited Astound Mobile free for 12 months. Our award-winning fiber-powered internet can handle it all. Faster streaming, better gaming, and secure online shopping. Lock in bigger savings than ever before at Astound.com. Restrictions apply. See Astound.com for details.
At H-E-B, we know that game day is about more than the game itself. The taste of victory is unparalleled, but so is the taste of H-E-B jalapeno poppers hot off the grill. Seeing the best players in their prime is truly something to behold. So is an H-E-B Prime 1 burger that you grilled to perfection. For low prices on all the things that make game day great and delicious, visit H-E-B, your official game day headquarters, or use the My H-E-B app to start prepping for game day right away.
You're listening to Baylor Football on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
We welcome you back into the post-game fan forum following a 49-35 Baylor victory in Morgantown. The Bears are presumably, if they've not made that little airport in Clarksburg, West Virginia just yet, they are going to be there soon, and then hopefully an enjoyable flight back to Waco this evening. We're brought to you by Rudy's, proud sponsor Baylor football. Be sure to stop by your local Rudy's or Rudy's.com for some real Texas barbecue. Enjoy 100% oak smoked meats, delicious sides, and Rudy's signature sauce. Don't forget, Rudy's serves breakfast tacos every day until 10 a.m. Alongside Bryce Hager, I'm Derek Smith. Aaron Sexton, our producer in Waco. Cameron Savoy there as well. Always appreciate all that that they do on the broadcast these days. And Bryce, let's these long days here, and let's talk about what we're seeing right now from this team. Again, at the top of the show, I mentioned I hope the team really starts feeling the love from Baylor fans, because it feels like, sometimes the only way around a tough time, they say, to kind of play off that cliche, is through it, and they had to go through a tough time. A 5-17 stretch after the most successful season in program history in 2021. Just some gut-wrenching losses. There was a stretch in which the team was really developing, just in terms of its NIL and finding its identity. And you look, the team's won 4 straight. It seems like that combination of Jake Pavidal calling the offensive plays, Dave Aranda calling the defensive plays, continues to mature. The team's finding a little bit of swagger. And, sometimes there comes a point where, the question becomes, the questions are, where's the program going? Well, I think we are seeing that now. And I hope there's a big exhale by a lot of people. Doesn't mean that, obviously this team's not playing for the college football playoff this year, although, they are playing for better and better bowl positioning after the win today. And it kind of feels to me like, if they play it right, it kind of feels to me like the end of the 2012 season that you were a part of. That, you all had some big wins. I mean, granted, one of them was over the number 1 team in the nation at the time, Kansas State, and then you obviously built on that to a Big 12 championship team, 2 in a row, in fact, the following 2 years. Long way to go. I mean, we're talking about, we're talking about next week's hard enough, let alone next year. But are there some things you remember from that stretch in 2012? How did the end of the year serve as kind of the forward of the book to 2013 and 2 really great years?
I mean, yeah, I can remember we went on that. It started honestly with West Virginia, losing West Virginia. Then we lost TCU to Texas to Iowa State, and then we kind of found our rhythm playing a Kansas team. They weren't very good back then. Kind of got that one under our belt. Went into Norman. It was a tough game. Ended up losing, and then kind of like you mentioned, we hosted Kansas State, number 1 team in the country, and just kind of found a way to pull that one off, and that just sparked us winning the last 5 out of the 6 games that season, and winning the Holiday Bowl out in California against UCLA. And that momentum, it just kind of carried, like you said, into the next 2 years. And sometimes there's just a turning point that can happen. I mean, you don't know when it is. You don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know if it's going to happen. But when it does, kind of everyone's on the same page, and you just feel something special. And so I think, obviously, having that win against Kansas State really catapulted us thinking, hey, if we can beat them, we can beat anyone. And we kind of took that and ran with it. And I think these guys are just kind of still finding their identity. They've got the great momentum. They're finding their groove, and I think it's super important for these guys to finish the season out strong. It's not what bowl game they shouldn't worry about what bowl game, what this, what that. Just continue to get better, continue to build off each week. Go in next week against Houston, focus on Houston, win that week, go 1-0, and you take care of that, and things just kind of take care of themselves. And we can worry about next year, but right now, be in the moment. This last 4 games have been awesome. Like 2 weeks ago against TCU, getting that win, I think that sparks a lot of momentum for these guys. You know, having a rivalry game like that, both playing well at the time, coming off big wins, and being able to stay in that game as a tough, hard-fought game. I think that might have been their catapult game to have them build that momentum and run this rest of the season.
You know, you think like this kind of era, if you will, of Baylor football, and I'll call this era the point after the 2021 Big 12 championship team and the Sugar Bowl win. I think in a lot of ways these last two have kind of been signature wins so far. More to come, certainly, hopefully so. But, you know, you beat your rival at home on a field goal at the gun. You get a road win in a place that you never have before as a program. And I mean, great teams went in there, and you know, West Virginia was able to send Baylor back home with a loss, but their signature kind of wins, and I think it reminds to me, it's not a perfect analogy to 2012 because y'all were coming off the RG3 Heisman win and an Alamo Bowl victory over Washington. But I think there were question marks about, you know, at that time, a lot of people nationally were wondering, was Baylor for real on the national stage, or if they catch lightning in a bottle, then you lose 4 straight games, and there's questions. You know, you all had to tune out some naysayers a little bit, and I think this group has as well. And I hope, I mean, certainly you guys had mental toughness that led to further wins down the line, and time will tell if that's what's happening here. But am I drawing too much of a parallel, or do you see something there?
Well, I mean, if you look back at kind of the schedule, I mean, not the schedule, the record, kind of what's happening, how it's playing out, I mean, it kind of lines up perfectly. You kind of get your losses out of the way, and then you kind of find that win that catapults you and kind of gives you that spark. I mean, that season I think we ended up 8-4 or 9-4, or kind of, well, like you said, we started off coming into the season with the expectations coming off the Alamo win, and then playing all right, and then get those 4 losses, and then kind of a lot of question marks. I mean, that was kind of like the beginning of this season. We had a bunch of question marks. What's going on? Are we the team we thought we were going to be? And then these last 4 weeks, these guys have turned it around. Credit to the coaches, the players to buy in. And I think right now it's a great comparison. These teams are playing pretty similar to that 2012 team, and we'll see how the year plays out, and hopefully plays out with 3 more wins and good momentum going into next year.
I want to ask you, too, about Bryson Washington. Bryce, another big game for him, 18 carries, 123 yards, 3 touchdowns, plus another one through the air, nearly 200 combined yards this evening. You're looking at a guy right now who has, in his last 4 games, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, 78 yards against Oklahoma State, 4.5 yards per carry. 196 yards and 4 touchdowns against TCU last week. 18 carries, 123 yards, 3 touchdowns tonight. So, you know, Bryce, I've seen some comparisons. You know, one of them that's natural is he has kind of hit some numbers lately that the Bears haven't had an individual touch since Terrence Ganaway, your former teammate with the Bears, and a guy who also went on to play for the Rams at the NFL level. Is that a good comparison? Who do you see when you see Bryson Washington out there?
Yeah, TG, he was an awesome back. He was a big back, hard back to take down, and so glad he was on our team running guys over. Yeah, I can see that. I also see a little bit like Shock Linwood, too, like him being dynamic out of the backfield, which people, I guess, weren't anticipating as much, catching the ball, running ball or yards after catch. He's doing a great job being another guy that Sawyer can see in the passing game. Makes guys miss. He's running the ball well. Yeah, so I see a little bit of Shock Linwood in him, too.
Well, you're talking about the two guys who have Shock Linwood is the all-time leading rusher in program history, and Terrence Ganaway has one of the two best rushing seasons in program history, and so those are good guys to compare yourself to when you're talking about Bryson Washington. And I mean, again, you're talking about a guy in Washington who has played all of about 7 career games. So the sky's the limit. And I always noticed that Coach Aranda, Bryce, we hadn't seen Bryson on the field, but Coach Aranda's a pretty calm guy. And, he would almost get, dare I say, gushy about him, talking about him. I mean, he played one game last year against Long Island, dealt with an injury. So we only saw him once. I think now we're seeing why Coach Aranda, you can tell when there's that little something extra in their voice sometimes. We're seeing why Coach Aranda was so excited about him right now. 96 carries, 576 yards, 6 yards per carry, and 7 touchdowns on the season on the ground, plus another couple through the air. This is the Postgame Fan Forum on the Baylor Sports Media Network. We're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, Bryce and I will talk about what we liked, what we didn't, what the Bears can improve on as they head into the last 2 games against Houston and Kansas. That's all coming up. We'll take a timeout and come back with more after this on the Postgame Fan Forum here on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Premier ER and Urgent Care has all the convenience of urgent care with all the expertise of an ER, all under one roof. At every visit, be seen by ER-trained staff with on-site lab and CT, X-ray, ultrasound, and EKG. Here, you pay for the appropriate level of care that you receive, and we are in-network with most major insurance providers. Premier ER and Urgent Care has 4 convenient locations serving Texas: San Marcos, Temple, Waco, and Woodway. To learn more, visit www.premier.care.
TFNB, your bank for life, is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Find out why more Central Texas are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB, your bank for life. Member FDIC.
See why Green Eye Associates is voted best in Waco year after year. Enjoy exceptional service and care from Dr. Leanne Green alongside her dedicated optometrist and staff. Receive trustworthy insights on your eye health. Enjoy the impressive variety of contacts and eyewear, and work with the most experienced optical team in Waco. Don't miss the new state-of-the-art dry eye therapies that rejuvenate the eyes and face with safe, non-invasive treatments to restore comfort and quality of life. Green Eye Associates, official optometrist of Baylor Athletics.
Hey Baylor fans, Baylor soccer season is currently underway. Come be a part of the action at Betty Lou Mays Field all season long and watch head coach Michelle Leonard and the Bears battle against the best in the Big 12. Score your tickets for game day right now at BaylorBears.com/tickets. We'll see you at Betty Lou. Sick 'em Bears.
You're listening to Baylor Football. Baylor Football on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Back here on the Postgame Fan Forum, following a 49-35 win for the Bears. Baylor with its first ever win in Morgantown. Baylor is bowl eligible, winners of 4 straight games. You look right now, if you look at the Baylor football. The Baylor football Twitter right now, they've got a big picture of Coach Aranda with the team being bowl bound, and our friends over at Sikkim 365 are reporting that it has been confirmed that Coach Dave Aranda will be back next year, and we have confirmed that as well. So you can put all that talk to rest. Baylor Athletics confirming that Coach Aranda is going to be back next year. And Bryce, again, I'll just say as we talk about what we like, a tip of the hat to him, to the staff, to the players for sticking together through a tough time. That's what I like tonight right now. I mean, it's kind of, there's so many cliches you can throw around. Tough times don't last, tough people do. But I think you see it play out. And there's some tough guys around that program, some focused guys, and you can never let up, but I hope there's a small part of them that can exhale just a bit and smile, because college football in this era is unforgiving. It's not easy to win. It's not easy to hold on to jobs. Everything's changing, but kudos to them for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, especially at the beginning of this year, it definitely seemed like things were up in the air, and they were able to kind of catch their breath and really dial in, figure out the guys they had, find their identity, and they've done a great job the last couple of games, and so hopefully they continue the last couple left on the schedule and finish out with a pretty good record.
Well, it's been a newsy kind of day around here. The Bears are bowl eligible, bowl bound. Coach Aranda definitely back next year. Good things to talk about. Bryson, we talk about what we like and what we didn't like. I think one of the obvious is Bryson Washington, another four touchdown game for him, 3 on the ground, 1 on the air. So that's the obvious. What else did you like today in the game? What stood out to you?
I mean, I like getting the win in West Virginia. First time we've done that, and just picking up back off the Bryson Washington thing. I mean, him being a redshirt freshman, I just hope that we can keep him around, have him here a couple more years, and make that guy a top priority for us moving into the next year. But I think this overall team did a great job getting the win in a place we never won before, and so that's big time. We love that, and that's got to give these guys something to be proud about, especially a game that they needed to get bowl eligible. So they were able to take care of business on a long away game, business trip, get to go home on a happy airplane.
Hey, Bryce, by the way, that's a tough place to win, as you said. First time Baylor's done that. What's it like as a player there in Morgantown? Looks like the sidelines are pretty close. What's it like walking there onto the sidelines with all those fine Christian people from Morgantown right now?
I mean, those people, they love their football. They love their moonshine. They love yelling at you if you're not wearing a West. Yeah, and so if you're not wearing their helmets, they're going to let you know. And so it's a place you're definitely you versus everyone, and so you got to dial in, get the outside noise, not focus about that, and just focus about your teammates and get the job done, because those guys will rip you apart if you let them.
Bryce, something else I like is a multi-dimensional offense. It wasn't like that when the team started off 2-4. I mean, there was a little bit. We saw that some against Tarleton and a good running game against Air Force. But, those were the games that really mattered. And I think you look at Sawyer Robertson, the way he's been performing, and then you throw in Bryson Washington, what he's been able to accomplish. The offensive line is just improving by the day, and it's nothing fancy, but a versatile offense. You can do a lot of things, and you can win in a lot of places if you're able to get it done on the ground, which Baylor has done, and through the air. Like Sawyer Robertson now 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the year.
Yeah, I mean, especially having a new offensive coordinator with Spavital, you got to give him. Right now, it's every year is a must-win year, and so people forget, new coaches come in, new players come in, there's got to be time for chemistry to be built. There's got to be time to get on the same page, and so I think those first couple of games were them, Spav was just trying to figure out who he's got, figuring out what his team's going to be, who he can use, who are his weapons, who's his quarterback. And so I kind of think right after those pieces fell into place, got the running game rocking, got Sawyer able to see the field, able to dish it out to multiple guys, and so I think everyone's going to start to trust people too. I mean, so I think Sawyer's trusting Spav's trusting his guys. He knows who his playmakers are, so I think that chemistry is finally being built.
What about, Bryce, areas to improve on? I'll throw out a couple. One that, we really haven't talked too much about penalties this year, but there were some big ones this evening, 9 penalties for 80 yards, a couple that extended drives. That's an area to clean up. And Coach Aranda also mentioned, playing the ball in the air. The Bears did give up a few big plays today. I think the dual threat of Garrett Green played a role in that. But I think, anytime you have 9 penalties for 80 yards, extended drives, you want to fix that. And great 25 points, isn't terrible. I think we could argue that, only maybe 28 were really meaningful, and one of them was questionable. Those touchdowns was questionable, but still, you want to clean that up going forward.
Yeah, I mean, definitely want to focus on the small things, because you do the small things wrong, it leads to bigger mistakes. But, I mean, you touched on it. Yeah, we've been doing a good job on offense scoring points, but defense, we've given up 35 points against West Virginia, 34 against TCU, 28 against Oklahoma State, 35 against Tech, and then 43 against Iowa State. And so we got to just kind of cut that in half. If the offense can score more than them, great. But I think we're giving up too many points. It is the Big 12. I understand there's fast, up-tempo offenses, and there's going to be a lot of points on the board. But if we can cut that back a little bit so we don't put so much stress on our offense.
A couple of comments on our YouTube channel right now. Patrick mentioned that more running backs are joining Bryson Washington next year, and I think a point that's well taken there, Bryce, what Patrick said is that we talked about Coach Aranda now confirmed he's returning for 2025 next year. There's a good incoming class of high school recruits that have really turned some heads nationally. Of course, you're also going to be talking about the transfer portal as well. But I think just that continuity and the work that Baylor's been doing in NIL and attracting these players to be part of this culture, I think just that knowledge that officially is coming back is going to be good for that incoming class as they solidify that confirmation to Baylor here in the weeks and months ahead.
Yeah, because right now usually, or at least when I was playing, you commit to the coach, and that's kind of where you want to go. And if you're uncertain if he's going to be there or not, that has a huge that pulls a lot of weight if you're going to go with him. So the fact that he's confirmed and he's coming back, and those guys who committed to him, that's great news. And so hopefully that opens up. Yeah, like you said, people get excited in the transfer portal will come to Baylor. Get these recruits are excited, and so confirmation of Aranda coming back is big for the program for next year.
Another comment on the YouTube channel, Alien UFO Pilot says that he's actually, if you recall, Baylor hired an offensive line coach, and Alabama hired him away in a matter of weeks. So he thinks the guy we got is better, and certainly you would have to agree with that. The job that the offensive line has done with Mason Miller, and coming in as after being the offensive coordinator at Carlton, they have certainly done the work to see them grow, and we've seen the fruits of that over the last weeks. One more segment to go here on the Postgame Fan Forum. We've got the game against Houston coming up next week down in Houston. We'll get you ready for that, talk about that when we return after this. One segment to go on a winning night for the Bears. We'll be back after this here on Baylor Sports Network.
The Toyota Tundra's powerful, available I-Force.
Be right back, guys.
A lot of different things to a lot of different people. To your neighbor, it means helping them with their new chainsaw carving hobby.
What do you think of this thing, eh? It's a bearfish birdman wood carving, if I've ever seen one.
To your cousins, the Tundra means Woohoo! As they jump off the boat onto the sandbar.
Now watch this flip.
No, don't. You're gonna...
Cannonball!
Definitely nail it.
To your co-pilots, the Tundra means an extra comfortable journey.
I can just...
You sure can.
And to you, the Tundra means... Whoa. Toyota is a proud partner of Baylor Athletics. Now this is a bare necessity. From tailgating to sailgating, the 2025 Tundra is built to take you wherever the road leads, on game day and beyond. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.
Doesn't seem like it's even the same season as before the first break, bye week.
Come for bigger deals, bigger savings, and bigger internet. For a limited time.
Yeah, I mean, give him all the credit, man. That's a pretty. I thought it was done. I was like, how can he keep them after those losses? He did.
Our award-winning fiber-powered internet can handle it all. Faster streaming.
Yeah, and after that, they were like, okay, if we can go to Lubbock and beat them, we can beat anybody in the conference. Not that they didn't believe that, but like they saw it play out,
.com for details.
It's Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels in Waco. Get the 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab with an incredible $1,000 off MSRP. Or drive away in a 2024 Ram 2500 Tradesman Crew Cab with $10,000 off MSRP. A great selection with over 350 new to choose from.
Same. Yeah, that is a good point. Like if they would have got a really bad, because Houston and Kansas were both terrible at the start of the year.
Friends.
You're listening to Baylor Football on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
West Virginia 35. That's the final in this one today. The Bears winless no longer in West Virginia. They've won 4 straight. Now 4-3 in Big 12 play. And you take a look at the standings right now in the Big 12. And again, still so many teams bunched up. It doesn't necessarily tell you where they're going to be at the end of the year. You've still got BYU at 9-0. They're going to try to stay that way. Later on tonight, and they are at 9-0. Colorado right now, the other team in the Big 12 championship game in Arlington. If the season were to end today, and you've got Arizona State. Colorado is 6-1. I beg your pardon. Arizona State and Iowa State, Kansas State, all 4-2. Then Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia are all 4-3 in Big 12 action. And boy, you look, Baylor was 0-3. Texas Tech was 3-0 in Big 12 play when those two teams met after that first bye week. And the situations changed. One score to pass along right now that's a bit of a stunner. In Manhattan, 16th ranked Kansas State is losing to Arizona State 24-6 right now. 24-6 late third quarter. So Kansas State has their work cut out for them if they want to come back in this one, and we will see if we'll see if they're able to do so. But, Bryce, I know we're having a couple of connection issues, but I'll mention to you that, I think just seeing that score reminds you as you head into Houston on Saturday, time still to be determined, a team that lost to Arizona 27-3 yesterday. Boy, don't take anything for granted right now. The Big 12's kind of nasty, and if you need any inspiration, look at what's happening in Manhattan right now to make sure you continue bringing this effort. And if you exhale a little bit, you better not let up.
Yeah, Houston, you got to be very come to win every game here in the Big 12. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, and so I think if you can show up next week, I mean, they're going to have a good crowd. Houston shows up to their games, and so if we can just build off what we did tonight, celebrate the win, have fun, but tomorrow, 24-hour rule, move on, and get ready for next week. I mean, it's another big week, but I'm excited. I'm excited for that game, and I love this momentum we have right now.
Sounds good. Well, Bryce, thanks very much to you. Look forward to talking to you next week as we discuss going inside the numbers on the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show, and, of course, talking about the game on the Postgame Fan Forum after that. Time still to be determined. Hey, a lot of Baylor family members in Houston. I've been to games down there where Baylor has made games a de facto home game at Rice when the Bears have played neutral site games in basketball and other sports. So hopefully fans can do that in Houston next week as we talk about this team. Certainly deserves to feel some of the appreciation from Baylor fans, and then closing it out on Senior Day, Thanksgiving weekend as well against Kansas. The Bears have won 4 in a row. They'll try to make it 5 in a row this coming Saturday. Stay tuned to Baylor Football at Twitter or BaylorBears.com. They will let you know when we know for sure what that game time is. Going to be. But we know this: the Bears are going bowling. Coach Aranda is coming back next year, official, and there's a lot to look forward to as we head into the final 2 games of the season. That is going to wrap things up here on the Postgame Fan Forum. I want to say thanks, as always, to our producer, Aaron Sexton, and Cameron Savoy back in our studios in Waco. Speaking for them, and Baylor legend Bryce Hager, I'm Derek Smith. We hope you will join us this coming Saturday on the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show, and then the Postgame Fan Forum, and then the broadcast, of course, with John Morris, JJ Joe, Ricky Thompson, and producer-engineer, the G-Man, Bob Baker. That is all for now. Again, the final tonight, Baylor 49, West Virginia 35, winless no longer in Morgantown. Enjoy it, Baylor family. For now, good night.
This has been
Great show, guys. Good job, Bryce, rolling with that. It took me a second, but I figured out what had happened. I just fat-fingered one of the buttons and turned off his return to you.
Farm Bureau Insurance.
Okay, hey, good job rolling with that, man. Hey, great show, Sick 'em Bears, baby.
Insurance online to find a local.
Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all.
Baylor, Scott, and